It is the 21st day of June 2015. Good afternoon and happy Father's Day. My name is Yvonne Okwara Matole. These are the top stories we prepared for you at this hour. We start off with insecurity in the northeastern region. The Wajir chief who was last night killed by gunmen suspected to be members of the Al-Shabaab was buried this morning. Mohammed Bare Abdullahi was shot dead by gunmen at around 8:45 p.m. as he left a mosque after evening prayers. The Arab location chief was shot dead about 500 meters from the mosque. Police say the attackers who managed to escape seemed to know the chief well and may have been after him, as they only shot him without injuring 3 other people he was walking with. Investigators in Wajir, however, say Mohammed Bare's name was not in the list of local leaders who had reported that their lives were in danger following threats from Al-Shabaab. The killing comes just 3 days after the government lifted a 2-month-long curfew in northern Kenya to allow Muslims to observe the holy month of Ramadan.
Wakati walitufukuza na risasi, tulikimbia. Mimi nilijificha mahali ingine hapa, shimo ingine hapo karibu, ndo nilijiangusha hapo, nilijificha. Mwenzangu alianza kukimbia mbele yangu, ndo walifuata yeye, walipiga risasi karibu kadhaa 9.
Na juzi serikali ilikuwa nasema amani katika town hii ya Wajir ilikuwa ni mzuri sana, kitu kama hii. Na mpaka sasa hatuoni machiefs na watu wengine wanauawa hadharani. Kwa hivyo jambo ambaye tunashangaza kama sisi wananchi wa Wajir ni serikali, weakness ya serikali ndio ambaye imetufanya namna hiyo.
From insecurity in the north to insecurity at the coast, a businessman in Mombasa this morning missed death narrowly when unknown gunmen attacked him in his shop in Majengo area. According to eyewitnesses, a gunman alighted from a vehicle and went straight into the businessman's shop, where fracas ensued before the gunman pulled the trigger, shooting the man twice. The gunman later escaped, leaving the businessman bleeding profusely. He's reported to have escaped on a motorcycle. The businessman, who runs a famous motor vehicle spare parts shop in that area, was then rushed to Aga Khan Hospital, and doctors say he is now in stable condition.
Kufungua duka alikuwa ashafungua, wao walimfuata ndani. Yule mwenye AK47 akasimama nje akablock ile, alikuwa hataki mtu mwingine aingie. Wawili wakaingia ndani, ndio mmoja akamfuata ndani ya duka na bunduki akampigia huko ndani.
Fracture of the right clavicle and a gunshot wound to the right hand. He's doing well, he's out of danger, he's currently stable, he can talk, he can even walk, so he's doing well currently.
Pikipiki mbili zilisimama hapa, wamejifanya kuwa wameharibikiwa na pikipiki. Ndugu yetu akajaribu kufungua duka yake kama kawaida, ndio wakamvamia, wakampiga risasi. Kwa hivyo mimi natoa mwito kwa serikali ya juu na county, na hii Ramadhani tulionao sasa hii, wadumishe sana security, hasa majengo. Tunataka wafanye patrol, na ikiwezekana waweke booth kila mahali hapa, kwenye kila kipembe, usiku na mchana waweke booth.
Police in Embu North have arrested 4 suspects who were found with 4 elephant ivories in Bang in Manyata. Speaking to the media at Manyata Police Station, OCPD Embu North James Karisa Kadzoba said that police also found elephants' teeth, which were hidden in the 4 suspects' houses. Kadzoba said they received information from members of the public, and in a joint operation with administration police and Kenya Forest Rangers, raided a village near Irangi Forest where the 4 suspects were arrested.
Meno hii ya ndovu, mwingine akapatikana na pembe hizi za ndovu. Kwa hiyo manyumba, mwingine akapatikana na pembe nyingine ya ndovu, na mwingine akapatikana na bangi. Hawa watu waliletwa katika Manyata Police Station. Ndio hawa ambao tuliwahoji mpaka tukajua vile walipata hivi vitu, na tuko nao tayari, tumekamilisha. Jumatatu wao wanaweza pelekwa kotini.
Munyi residents are now camping outside schools to avert attacks by marauding elephants in their village. The residents are armed with spears and pangas, and according to them, the elephants have restricted their movements and their calls for help from the KWS have gone unanswered.
Ndovu wamekuwa tisho kabisa shuleni, sana sana kwa wanafunzi, kwa sababu tunakuta wanafunzi wengi hawakuji saa ile ambayo tunahitaji kwa sababu ya hawa mandovu.
Tuko na shida sana, hasa wamama. Siku hizi hatuendi maji, unakaa mpaka saa 3 hivi ndio uende uchote maji, ama uwezi ukaenda maji jioni kwa sababu unaogopa kwenda. Na unaogopa kwenda asubuhi. Sasa unaongojea mpaka mchana ndio upate kwenda maji.
Let's move away from that and to the politics over the Mumias Sugar Company that has been rekindled by Western MPs with counter-accusations over who can revive the struggling sugar company. Western MPs from UDF party fault fellow legislators who sought the help of the opposition leader Raila Odinga in revamping Mumias. Now, the 3 MPs who spoke to journalists in Nairobi this morning blamed Raila Odinga for contributing to the collapse of Mumias Sugar Company while he was the Prime Minister. The issue has left 2 groups of Western leaders on either side of the fence, even as the regional leaders struggle to conclude on the elusive unity of the major voting bloc.
It's known to everybody that Mumias Sugar Company did not start deteriorating yesterday. It did not start deteriorating last year. It started deteriorating when the Prime Minister was in a seat as a Prime Minister of this country. And that if there was anything that he should have done within his capacity as a Prime Minister, he should have done it. It is very, very unfortunate that he let Mumias go the way it did, and yet he was in a position to assist that company that time.
This issue of some MPs from Western Kenya insinuating that Raila can solve the problem of Mumias Sugar Company is neither there because of one thing. You cannot solve the problem of Mumias Sugar Company when you are out of the government, when you're outside the government. And I'll state categorically that when Raila was a Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya, Mumias Sugar Company used to supply molasses to his plant in Kisumu. Up to now, Raila owes Mumias Sugar Company 300 million, and I can produce documentary evidence to that effect, and we can meet in court over that.
Confusion seems to be the center stage of getting the vote of Western Kenya. When Western Kenya is waking up from the cold to take a proper position to get itself on economic growth, the only way some leadership want to assume that they will make Western a hunting point by making the people of Western poor so that they can be convinced at the end of the year, come 2017, to vote for Honorable Raila.
The politics surrounding that sugar company there, will continue to keep our eye on that for you. Let's go to Machakos County. Residents of Syokimau there have erected barriers to block the movement of lorries in the estate. The residents complain of dust and noise pollution and have accused NEMA of disregarding their plight.
These trucks are using Syokimau roads because it's a shortcut. They don't want to use their designated road, which is called Quarry Road. We should lead them to the weighing bridge. And so basically they are avoiding paying the levies that they should be paying at the weighing bridge and the other designated points.
The Ahadi Kenya Trust is asking the national government to supplement its efforts to eradicate jigger infestation. Executive Director Stanley Kamau spoke in Isiolo during an anti-jigger campaign at Pepo La Tumaini area. Ahadi Kenya says sufficient resources should be invested in the infrastructure of all schools to help fight the menace. Now, more than 300 young school children and 100 adults infested by jiggers benefited from that event.
Primary education is not a devolved project. So what we need to see is that we need to see the government, especially with the new budget for this year, to see how they can improve on the infrastructure of the classrooms, isn't it? Because once we improve on the infrastructure, we'll be a mile away in fighting the jigger menace in this country.
I'd like to appeal to most of the county governments. Let's follow suit. Let's follow what the Isiolo government has done, and we are definitely going to see the war against jiggers in Kenya go down.
Kazi imefanyika na hii itazidi kufanyika. Watu wako ofisi wamesema watawasaidia, na mimi kazi yangu kama mama hii county ni kuhakikisha tutapush, tuhakikishe watu hawawezi wakasafa na jiga sana vile tunaendelea.
A contingent of 155 health professionals who are on a 6-month mission in West Africa have returned home after completing their task. The professionals included epidemiologists, public health officers, humanitarian officers and health communication experts. They were in Liberia and Sierra Leone to assist in the fight against Ebola. Speaking at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport during the welcoming ceremony of the officers, Health Cabinet Secretary James Macharia said that the professionals have made a significant contribution in the fight against Ebola in the two nations since their deployment. The CS noted that significant progress has also been made in Sierra Leone, where less than 15 cases are being reported in only 2 districts per week, from a high of 500 cases per week in December last year. Macharia announced that all returnees from the two countries are considered as low risk as they have not interacted with any confirmed or suspected cases in the last 21 days. So some good news coming there from Sierra Leone. Of course, we look forward to a complete eradication of that there for now. Now, senators are on fire in their war with the National Assembly, but the Speaker of the House, Justin Muturi, is defending the MPs from accusations, saying the National Assembly is not a rogue institution. Our parliamentary reporter, Aaron Acheng, sat down with the Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the recent sitting of the Senate raised some issues about the conduct of the National Assembly. Do you agree with what the senators was saying against the National Assembly?
I don't expect that everybody agrees with everything that the Assembly will do. And I don't think those who disagree are necessarily without reason. They give their reasons, but even in a judgment, not everybody agrees. The person who loses a case always goes home a bitter person.
Was there any substance in what some of the members were raising?
Let me not express myself about that, because you see, it's a House of Parliament. They can order a sitting to discuss anything that they think is of value and importance to them. So I think it will not be fair for me to say what I saw about the sitting or not, because they unseen value in what they are discussing.
Does this now open a new can of worms in the supremacy battle between the National Assembly and the Senate?
Houses of Parliament, wherever there is bicameralism, always have this kind of wars of turf. It's only that in many developed democracies, it is done in moderate ways, and there is not a lot of calling of each other names. It is much more mature, and like we see in Kenya, and maybe perhaps it's because we are new. And both the senators, actually, if you ask me, for instance, the people in the Senate of Kenya today are only experienced, those that have experience, are only experienced in doing the work of the National Assembly. They are not experienced in doing the work of the Senate, which is new to them. So, and I don't think, when you see some rancor, for me, I don't think whether it is something that will take me aback.
One of the recommendations from the Senate was to have a referendum to strengthen the Senate. Do you agree with the Senate?
Well, they are the ones who saw the need. So I don't think whether I should not express any opinion on that, because it is their right, and indeed the right of any Kenyan to express themselves in whatever way, including the desire to do referenda and even amend any law, including the Constitution. The only thing is that they must do within the provisions of the same Constitution and the laws of Kenya.
Based on what happened in the National Assembly last week in the debate in the nomination of Dr. Monica Juma, some quarters have labeled the National Assembly as a rogue parliament. Are you leading a rogue parliament?
Far from it. There's nothing wrong about the House. I mean, is it because, you see, when we do things in a particular way, certain people don't like it. That will not make us do them differently. As long as we are faithful to the Constitution, for me, that is what is important. And for instance, I had that terminology used in the debates of Monday, and I thought it was, those were unfortunate, terminologies to be used about members of a sister house. Decorum and common decency would demand that those, however provoked they may have been, should use, some temperament, or temper their anger with some elements of common decency. You see, for instance, that matter is water under the bridge. The House is still moving on, notwithstanding those criticisms, because we can't stop merely because others are criticizing or uncomfortable with our decisions.
Even the president was not happy with the decision of the National Assembly.
Yeah. The issue is not about who is happy and who is not happy. The House has already made a decision. It annoys some people, it makes others happy, but that's not the end of life. And for me, I also I was surprised also, because I didn't know anything that the House would behave that way with regard to that nominee, because at a personal level, I know her to be a very hardworking and upright person. Indeed, if you read the report, I think the committee was confirming what I'm saying. She was really a most deserving person. But once again, notwithstanding all that, the House is still open to the House to make a decision one way or other. The Speaker's views notwithstanding.
Thank you.
Aaron?
Yeah, and so whether the president was happy or not with the decision on Monica Juma, Justin Muturi, the speaker there, says it's not the end of the world. He's there defending the August House and denying that it is a rogue institution. Well, there was more of that. So be sure to join Aaron Ochieng later on tonight on KTN Weekend Prime for the second part of that interview with the National Assembly Speaker, Justin Muturi. So do stand by for that. That will be coming your way at 9 p.m. tonight. Let's take a short break right now on KTN Weekend at 1. We'll be right back with more news. Welcome back. I think we're all still in that celebratory mood for the Malkia Strikers. Kenya won her 9th Women's Africa Volleyball Cup title after dispatching rivals Algeria in a nail-biting final at the Kasarani Indoor Arena. By winning that match, the Malkia Strikers punched their ticket to the World Championships set for August this year. The win saw Kenya complete the championship without dropping a single set. Robinson of Kenya witnessed that encounter and brings us the details.
The Kasarani Indoor Arena was arguably the place to be this afternoon. And the national women's volleyball team had enough company in the hundreds of fans who turned up to cheer them on as they launched their bid for the 9th African title against their fierce North African rivals, Algeria. The stakes were so high here since the winner earns a ticket to the World Championship set for August. With both sides already familiar with each other after meeting early in the group stages, the match quickly turned into a fight of titans, each side giving as much as they received. Kenya took an early 8-5 lead heading into the technical timeout. The attacking trio of Evelyn Makuto, Braxidi Sagala and Mercy Moim left Algeria gasping for breath amid deafening cheers by the partisan crowd. Malkia strikers doubled the lead at the second timeout before the home girls went on to win the set 25-17. Kenya's attack continued to impress in the second set, but the Algerians were not willing to be taken for a drink, taking an 8-7 lead, forcing coach Lungao to reorganize his charges. The arrival of setter Janet Wanja for Jane Washu added more arsenal for Malkia strikers as the Queens pulled away to win the set 25-21. Algeria came back a strong side in the third set, testing Kenya at an opportunity, and it looked like the set could go the North African way. Kenya refused to budge as the Queens rallied from behind to win the set 25-20 and successfully defend their title.
Tulikuwa natarajia kushinda na nafikiri tumeshinda kwa njia nzuri, seti 3-0. Nafikiri ni bidii ya wachezaji wametia bidii.
We are very happy winning the championship 3-0 all the matches, and we say thank you to our fans because without them we will not have won.
And Sports Cabinet Secretary did not miss the action on the final day. Earlier on, Cameroon beat Senegal to clinch the third position. Jane Washu won the best setter as Ruth Chepngetich was named the best blocker. Kenya's Evelyn Makuto was crowned the tournament's most valuable player.
They promised to successfully retain their African title here at home, and they've stayed true to their word. The Kenyan women's national volleyball team has once again demonstrated why they are the African queens of volleyball. Robinson Okenya, KTN Sports.
That's all we had for you on Weekend at 1 this afternoon. Please do stay with us for more news coming your way at 4, at 6:30 and at 9 p.m. as well as Checkpoint that's coming up. It's a discussion you do not want to miss. We're talking about some jokes that might be going too far. Or are we just too serious for life? We'll give you all the details later on at 9, and you can also follow us on Twitter at KTN Kenya and standardmedia.co.ke for all the latest updates. See you at 9 o'clock. Have a good afternoon. My name is Yvonne Okwara Matole.